We're running a little bit late because our computers are rebooting from the power outage yesterday morning. Martin's unplugging it and plugging it back in. He's hiding. Okay, well, I think we better get going here. I'm gonna call today's meeting to order. Jen, will you do roll call, please?
Tom McDonald,
Here.
Len Chiti, Jennifer Finley, Jim Molitor,
Here.
Carol Langford, Terry Pitts, Bing Matt,
Here.
Ellie Bundy, present, Martin Charlo,
Present.
Mike Dolson,
I'm here.
James Steele Sr.
Thank you, Jen. Terry, would you start us out in a prayer this morning?
Thank you, Chair. Maybe I'll start singing. Creator, we are so blessed to be here together today. We ask that you'll keep a close watch on our youth as they travel to and from school, and that our travels will be safe. We ask that our membership will be watched over and kept safe today, and as we prepare for these cold months that are coming before us, we ask that we'll be able to provide support and that there'll be a blessing over each and every individual. We're thankful for our leadership and ask that we'll be guided and we'll be guided in a direction that will make the right decisions and be open-minded to listen to the issues. We ask that we travel in safety and bless those that are not able to attend today. And we say these things in the Creator's name. Amen.
Thank you, Terry. Okay, first order of business, minutes from October 27th are before you for consideration.
Mr. Chair, motion to make or to approve the minutes of October 27th with any changes.
Motion by Ellie to approve the October 27th council minutes with any changes. Second by Mike. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, show of hands. 8-4, 1 abstaining. Minutes are approved. Okay, we have today's agenda. We have one walk-in, Michelle. Was there any other adds to the agenda changes? Yeah. When? Okay. Okay. We have Len, Carol, Bing, Jimmy. Any other additions to the agenda? Just Martin? Okay. I know Martin and I will have to step out a little bit before lunchtime to present at the Ronan Chamber of Commerce. Motion by Mike to approve today's agenda with changes. Second by Jimmy. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, show of hands. Unanimous. Okay, let's do our first walk-in. Michelle, come on up.
Good morning, Michelle.
Yes, good morning.
This morning I have with me the Tribal Relations and Resiliency Unit from the Montana Office of Public Instruction. We have a resolution for you to approve for us today, as well as a brief presentation by Donnie and his staff. And I hand it over to Donnie Wetzel Jr.
Welcome.
Good morning, everybody. I'm honored to be here, and it's good to see many of you that I haven't seen in a pretty long time. So I don't think you guys age very much, it seems, you know. But yeah, I'm honored to be here, and I want to thank Michelle for helping put this together. My name is Donnie Wetzel Jr. I'm the Tribal Relations and Resiliency Coordinator at OPI. And we have a group of staff here that, should I have them introduce themselves? You guys would like to come up? And I'm from Blackfeet country, and we've been doing some different kind of work centered around building better tribal relations within the state, and then looking at ways to assist our native youth a little bit more. So I'll have these guys introduce themselves.
Good morning. Thank you for allowing us to be here today. My name is Crystal Hickman, and I'm a member of the Crow Tribe. I'm honored to be before you today. My title is School Mental Health Support Services Coordinator, and I coordinate mental health services in our schools across the state.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Alicia Doney. I'm from Fort Belknap, and I'm the Tribal Youth Coordinator for our team.
Adagi Avi, my name's Matt Bell. I'm from Fort Belknap. I'm Nakota and Aani. I'm the new language and culture specialist working with Donnie's unit. It's a new position as of this year. So working to coordinate with some of our language warriors to get more curriculum resources, training, development, and opportunities for our young people and language and culture out there. So thank you all for having us.
Hi, good morning. My name is Anna Marsicano, and I am the AmeriCorps Planning Grant Coordinator, and I'm exploring service as a pathway to purpose and self-identity for youth. I'm really glad to be here this morning. Thank you.
Well, welcome all of you. Like a great group, Donnie. Wow.
Yes, I'm truly blessed to have these powerful people sitting around with me. Sometimes we get on some wild ideas, but we get it done. So I was just gonna share that PowerPoint if possible, and then I'll just kind of go through. As you probably know, Indian Education for OPI is the Indian Ed for All team, which is IFA, and then there's an American Indian Student Achievement team, which is called ASA, and then we created this Tribal Relations and Resiliency. I worked for, last time I seen many of you, I was working at the Tribal Leaders Council, and one thing, Denise Juno grabbed me to come and start to do some work with youth leadership because I was in the field of suicide prevention. And so I started a program with them. Can you guys see that? Okay. And it was mainly to try to get our youth in a place that they're well taken care of, they're living longer, healthier lives, kind of bringing the heart into a lot of the work. And so that's kind of carried on. I was working in different schools over in Northern Cheyenne and Fort Peck region and down in Crow. And so we also did many of the youth leadership stuff. And so Superintendent Arnson came up to me once and said, is there any, like a tribal relations, is there anything like that inside of OPI? I said, no, there isn't. She said, well, let's do it. Let's create it. So they kind of let me run a little bit, and we put this together, and it's really centered around tribal consultation. But we also wanted to get more of a team centered around culture and language and self-identity. And so you could see on the timeline there, I won't read through it, but it kind of took off. We started to, we ran a Systems of Care grant that was doing wraparound support services. We were able to keep Crystal on board there. If you guys know Stephanie Ironshooter, she was also working with me in that. And so what they were doing is providing mental health supports for our youth. And for many of our scores in education in our school districts, the brain can't learn when it's stuck in trauma. And so we try to get ahead of a lot of that with some of the services that we bring. We also looking at through tribal protocol from what I've known and in my journey, we wanted to establish an elder committee and met with various elders from across the state. And we've wrote a grant to consult them to help us to better design our school districts or to indigenize from their perspectives. How do we bring in our stories? How do we bring in our self-identity? I've always been taught those are the folks you go to. So they've changed their name to the Knowledge Keepers of Indigenous Nations, which is really powerful, and it stands for, you know, the acronym's KIN. And so we want that to kind of spread across state agencies. I believe that all the state agencies should have a knowledge keeper group. So then we also have the youth leadership. I'll bust through this really quick. And yep. Oh, okay. Yeah, can you go to the next one? So this was kind of, this is really a complex graph, but that upper thing with the triangle was some of the work we were doing in our school districts. And it was really kind of the top quality westernized-based approaches. As we started to move along in our school districts, there was nothing for youth and there was nothing about wellness. And so getting ahead of it, we wrote a grant, and you can see all those arrows pointing. And then we had a school climate transformation grant that was written. And it was an opportunity to look at, say, discipline issues in our schools, or our youth having a tough day, or having, you know, bringing in what they may have been experiencing at home. So it was an interesting concept because, again, we went out to the elders and started to talk about what can we bring into the schools. We have counselors, we have all of these things we've tried, and sometimes it's just tough for our kids. And so we followed proper protocol out in Fort Belknap at Hayes Lodgepole, sought their elders' guidance. So they started to bring in smudge in the mornings. And so a comparative month, a year before, between September to October, there were 76 discipline issues and I think 5 expulsions in Hayes. So that year we started to prep to how do we bring in, because you know our children, when they're in these settings of ceremony or tribal, they're just the most respectful kids you'll ever meet. And so what's the transition? So what we did is that next year started to bring in the smudge, and we have Alicia Doney was part of that. So it's kind of cool that she's now working with us. So they brought in the smudge, they started to bring in the drums. In that same time period that year, there was only 6 discipline issues. And of course, we're horrible on data. It was written on white paper and flip charts, but you started to see, and within our elders, they started to say, once that stuff is brought in, their DNA will awaken in our kids. Even if they don't have it at home, it'll start to awaken. So then we dug a little bit deeper. That triangle with the tiers were different kind of approaches that we could look into a school district. And so that was with about 6 schools we were working with. And then you can see the final kind of framework that we're looking within a lot of our school district is this holistic school framework, where safety and culture and self-identity and holistic wellness are kind of the top priority. And then the instruction will come. And so when we come and meet with you guys, and you can go to the next one. We had this vision, and you can see that we've pretty much completed everything. We do have a youth component now, full force. We have 2 young ladies here that are going to be working with our youth leadership. We have a group called Rise. That's a virtual youth leadership group across the state. And this last Thursday, we had some of our knowledge keepers come in and tell stories of the season, you know, the taboo stories. And, you know, it was just absolutely powerful. You know, Vernon Finley shared how the skeleton came to be. And it was scaring kids. Like, he was telling that story, and it was, but like those simple things and the lessons that are inside those stories, those kids will be changed forever hearing that stuff, you know. And so that's the Rise component. You can go to the next one. So within many of our school districts, we're slowly piecing together a budget for our unit. We have different approaches, but within many of our reservation communities and our tribal nations, we want to build that bridge a little bit more. You guys are very blessed to have a tribal ed coordinator, a K-12, and you know, I visited with her if there's ways that we can collaborate and share some of that knowledge and knowledge base, or even the process to create that in some of our other reservations. It'd be very beneficial. But we want to look at bringing in the tribal voice and the power of our tribal nations, and practicing sovereignty, bringing in land-based education and various things like that. So these are some of the ideas that we have. The idea really is you have some of our biggest, most powerful entities in our communities is the school and then the tribe. And if we can build those bridges, for instance, when the ARP ESSER funds were coming, we were in discussions with the tribal councils in Fort Belknap to create student housing units for our kids, because you could only do so much inside of the school day. And what if we were to have a student housing for girls and boys? And they were in the works of kind of doing that. It didn't take off like we wanted, but Heart Butte has done that. For some of the kids that are really having a tough time, and you're seeing them grow in leaps and bounds. And then also centered in the cultural stuff. And so we're trying to bring in that resources that are within our tribal nations a little bit more with our school districts, and shadowing programs where we get students to come in and sit with council members or whatever it may be. Our children need to understand the power that you guys hold, and being a sovereign nation, you know, we should be having more information around that in our curriculum. So that's kind of what this slide is about. We're just looking to break down walls and build bridges, I guess you could say. You can go. So this was the ESSA, the Every Student Succeeds Act. It was the new No Child Left Behind. Within it is this section 8538. And you could see the requirements of districts receiving any funds in that nature. They run it through you guys. And I know that you have no waivers here. You guys work with that. The idea in some of our tribal nations is wouldn't it be pretty great if the school districts and the tribes were planning these together in like June? And so when the funding comes, you have a good agenda, you're working, you're sharing resources, and then submitting that stuff in October. But this is where our school districts should be coming and presenting, and I think you guys are pretty awesome with that. Some of that isn't happening across the state, but this is the mandate right here. So you can go to the next. So this is with all of the work we've ever done in all of our schools, we dump millions and millions of dollars into our schools with the Schools of Promise program. And it's heartbreaking because there's some of those schools have just went back to where they were before we supported them and we built a structure around them. And what we've done is we started to create, our whole team right here is to create an in-house support system where we build capacity. So if a school district needs somebody on language and culture, we can get Matt, or mental health and wellness, we can get Crystal, and she's trained in restorative circles and all kinds of stuff. And then of course our two young ladies here with the youth leadership stuff. But this was the key to it all. And one of my elders' name is Leonard Bastine. He's from Blackfoot, and he created an elder culture wisdom council in Canada that was kind of led into some of this reconciliation work up there. So I asked him, how do we do this? How do we bring in more of our knowledge, our doctoral level traditional educators? And he guided me in this, and we wrote a grant to keep it going. So we're looking at different policies that they're going to develop, that the state agencies should be bringing in our elders for various things, from fish, wildlife, and parks and stuff like that. So this has been the game changer, I think, and it's called KIN now. But again, we want to always have the direct connection with the tribes. You can go to the last. So that quote there is pretty much what we're doing. It's one of the most powerful quotes I've ever seen, and that's our team. We want to build those bridges with our tribal nations and see if there's support systems that we can get better at for our youth, because I think our entire goal here is that our youth live longer and stronger and more beautiful lives, reconnect to who they are, learn who they are, and there's a lot of opportunities sitting in our school districts for that. So that's pretty much the quick version.
Now we humbly request that council consider passing and adopting a resolution that Jennifer is going to pull up in her system. Sorry about that. So now we humbly ask that tribal council consider and pass our resolution to engage in tribal consultation between a TEA and an SBA, which is the Tribal Education Agency, and the State Education Agency. We have a planned 2-day meeting today and tomorrow at Quatuknuk. But what this resolution does is it puts it to paper that we're going to continue to work together. We're going to create a pathway for information sharing and continue to do this work. And it's not just a one-time thing, and it's not even just an annual thing. It's that we continue to do the best we can for our kids.
Thank you, Michelle. Just one question, Donnie. On the KIN, how do you seek those representatives?
So I was researching that when I first went to the OPI internet, and they had tried things in the past, and so they would seek guidance at the local level, and then it would sometimes getting to, well, that person isn't the right one, or that person isn't the right one. So I've been out there for quite a while, and I was talking different things, and I just knew different people that could guide me in the right direction. And so I talked to like Dr. Ken Ryan up in Fort Peck. He gave me names, and I talked, and I went and consulted my elder Leonard. I said, how do we choose these folks? And he said, well, start in that way. Thank you. Yeah, start in that way, and then it'll all work out. You know, so I mean, it's kind of interesting how that is, but you say saying that the elders with integrity will rise. And we have seen that. And so with you all, since you have your committees in Salish and Kootenai, went directly to Tony and Vernon. And those were the ones that I had. And then Vernon told me, well, maybe check in this one. And then of course I work with Michelle. But that's kind of where it's taken off. And I think that one of the most interesting things is you do have varying opinions on the local level of this elder or that elder. But it seems like at the state level, they've come together and they decided we want to keep this at a spiritual level about the benefit of our youth. We don't want to get political. We don't want to get personal. So it's just taken off like that. And I hope that answers your question, but it was basically word of mouth. And we're designing these articles of association that the elders are telling us. Again, like Michelle says, if I move on from this job, we want to be locked in within policy at OPI where we have a strong voice for our tribes and a direct connection, and that kin stays, you know. So that's kind of how we did it, but they were designing the process as well. And they liked the word of mouth and how we know this person or that person. But does that answer your question?
It does. My second question would be, how is OPI getting this out to the different school districts?
We have, we have direct connections out there to the districts. And so each one of our members up here has their skills, and we're pretty close with our school districts. With you guys, I pretty much work with your tribal ed director. But we also run the youth leadership and invite everybody to that. And you have a very strong group of youth from all kinds of districts. But we want to get out more. You are our first tribe that we've been able to come out and meet with. But we do have direct connections to every district. And I think, I don't know if I'm getting older, but I know almost every superintendent and administrator in our Indian schools. And so like we work right with them. When they need us, we come in. When we need them, they step up. So yeah, we get it out quite a bit. And these young ladies are talking about putting it out more on social media and getting the information of what we're doing out there a little bit more. So that's kind of their wheelhouse.
Carol?
Yeah, I'm really glad that you mentioned Kenny Ryan. Good guy and yes, very knowledgeable. The other thing I wanted to say is normally in consultation, you know, the tribes will develop our position. And what it appears here with the resolution is that's what Michelle has done, is put all of our discussions and thoughts and ideas, policies in writing on what we expect as a tribe. And so there'll be an outcome, right, from all of this, and you'll have a report. Yeah, and I have no problem with the resolution. It looks like you've tied everything in, and I see the support of the CSKT folks that should be in the room. Hopefully we're not missing anybody. Is Rodney Bird in the room at all, or?
He's not, but he was invited.
Okay, yeah, I would like to see him. But anyway, yeah, Mr. Chairman, if we need to, if council's ready, I'd like to make a motion, but if we're not, I'll give council a chance to read it. I'll make a motion that we approve the resolution for this group to move forward on consultation.
Motion by Carol to approve the resolution supporting the efforts of Tribal Relations and Resiliency Union. Second by Mike. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, show of hands. Unanimous. Thank you, Michelle. Donnie,
Thank you.
keep up the good work.
Yeah, thank you very
Expect
much.
some great changes.
Yes.
Thank you, guys.
Make these schools inclusive. Thank you.
No, you can just show up. We did, and there, so we have SKC students, SKC faculty. We have a big group from Two Eagle that are registered. We have students from Arley, Mission, Ronan, Polson, Hot Springs. And we have some elders, we have some teachers, we have building administrators, we have parents. And then all of my culture and language apprentices are all going to be there both days as well. And my entire staff.
And the camera crew. Okay, let's hit some of the council items that are open session. Who wants to go first? It's an open session. Carol?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I was wondering what the status of the Bailey how do you spell? Police Bay, oh, I always get that wrong. Director position, what the status of that is, or I've had some questions come forward to me, and maybe we need to go in executive and talk. I don't want to.
Clayton was supposed to go down and meet with the elders and talk over the process, and he was gonna try to do it at a time when I was available, but Clayton Matt.
Can we just go into executive?
Pardon?
Can we go into executive? I
Sure.
don't know that.
Sure we can.